Today on the DML News Podcast, we're going to talk a lot of things. Jimmy Kimmel, the UN escalator, Muslim takeover, the ICE shooting, Jimmy Comey, I love Trump, and the crazy left. So get ready, because we're here in our new studio, and it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. I have Ryan on the controls. Many of you have asked me, where's Denny? Where's Denny? Denny is working full-time on our newsletters and on our news app. You could download the DML News app for free by going to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. We are in our new studio here, and our new studio is basically my home office converted into a studio. Now, it's funny, yesterday I had done a Facebook Live on my cell phone, just bringing attention to the fact that we have the show here every Monday and Thursday morning at 9 a.m., and that will be for the rest of September, and then we'll turn up the amount of shows each week once October rolls around. But some guy said, you get the Guinness World Record for having the most studios in 10 years. And I said, wow, we have that many studios? And I thought about it, how many studios we've had. And back in New York, we had 3 different studios. We had the estate, and then we did a studio from a cottage that we had in our backyard. And then we moved it into, because when my son moved back home, he needed a place to live, so he moved back in there, and then we started our CBD business, and I moved the studio back into my home office. Then we came here to Florida. We started here in the office. We went to a location. The lease on that just ran dry, and now we're back here again. So it's not that many, but it's enough to be different. One of the things that I've always wanted in a studio is to have the ability to see real time the news that is happening. And so I really got to tell you 2 things here. Number one is this is set up exactly like I've always wanted it. And we are going to give you a great program every single day that we come on. And I got to tell you something. I have to be the luckiest guy in the world. We did this in a day. And when I say we, I have to give the credit to my son, Ryan. He was here last night until 10 o'clock at night, started at 8 o'clock in the morning, building it all so we could be ready here today. And you would think that this was something that took place in a week. And then what I did to him this morning is I said, okay, now you got to cut 14 clips and photographs because I have a lot I want to cover. And the poor kid is probably ready to start having a couple of cocktails at 10 o'clock in the morning here. But I am really, really such a lucky man. In fact, I think I'm the luckiest man in the world, not only for just having a great audience who always sticks with me. I mean, think about that. Some guy for the last 10 years has been with me. 10 years, right? And so he could count on my studios. So I'm so lucky to have the loyalty of the best audience that there is. And of course, I am so lucky to have such wonderful children who work with me all the time. My son, Ryan, Denny, and of course, Ashley, and my daughter, Kelly. But Kelly doesn't work with us, obviously. But the 3 of them are just sensational. And when I say that I am the luckiest man alive, I'm not saying that for jest. I mean, I really believe that I can claim such a thing. That being said, before we get into the program, we have a lot to go over. I kind of just want to lay out the situation here, so this way you know what I've got going on. I made sure that I have the Bible with me at all times. Because one of the things that I vowed when I came back, when I said, all right, I'm not going to retire, I'm coming back and I'm doing shows, and Charlie Kirk has me so fired up that this show will become number 1. There's no doubt in my mind. I will die trying if I have to. But I swore that I would make sure that each and every show I professed, without getting too holy-roly, about my love for God and how important it is that we have more God in our life, that we share love as much as we possibly can, because the world is missing. It is missing love, and it needs more love. And so as hard-hitting as I could be in my commentary, and I am hard-hitting, you'll see today I'm going to wind up hitting pretty hard. I have told God that I need to do that because There are very dangerous people, people who are devilish at soul, and they want to destroy everything that is pure in this world. They want to destroy the future for our children. They want to destroy your country, my country. They want to destroy our president and vice president. They just want to ruin everything. And so I don't like having to bash people. So what I am vowing to do is that I am going to highlight the evil that is in this country and in this world, and I'm going to do so, as I've always done, without apology and without fear, and let the chips fall where they may. The other thing I think you'll find very interesting is my son Denny bought me a book for Christmas going back a while ago. It's really a cool book, and it is, I'll hold it up here to the crowd. It is designed, it's got a leather case, and it's made in the old pages, like the old pages how they used to write when they were literally just, peeling off trees. And what I'm going to do here for every podcast that I do is I'm going to record every podcast. And then I am going to ask somebody, who knows, maybe somebody in my audience, the Team DML or whatever, but to transcribe this almost into a book. And one of the things that I'm going to do for every podcast, because I can see all of your comments here, they come up. I am going to add my favorite comment from the Facebook feed and from Team DML feed into this book. And then the next show, I will start it off by telling you whose comment really hit me, touched me the most, impacted me the most, because I want to reiterate, without audience participation, without your comments, this is nothing. I mean, I could stand outside right now and just talk to myself, but talking to you, getting you to interact is the most powerful thing that we can do. I mean, I could go get myself a radio show or something else of that nature and probably get paid a pretty decent amount of money and just sit there for hours and just talking to the radio abyss. I don't want to do that. I want to have an interactive show. So that's that. So that's the layout there. So this way you see what it is we're going on with. I got Abraham Lincoln looking at me, always making sure that he keeps me honest. Honest Abe. So I'm always going to be honest. I always have been, and I'm going to continue that way. With that being said, let's get into a few things here. We're going to start off with Jimmy Kimmel. And I don't want to highlight Jimmy Kimmel. I think Jimmy Kimmel is one of those people who has devilish thoughts running through his mind at all given time. And I know a lot of people think I'm joking around and I'm trying to be funny when I say that Jimmy Kimmel, like all Democrats, need to have his brain autopsied when he moves on. But I'm dead serious. If you think about it for a moment, there is a level of insanity in every single Democrat. I have been saying this to you for years, and I think when I say it, people think it's funny. I'm serious. I guarantee you that if we took 100 Democrats that will pass on today, because definitely we're going to have 100 people die today, right? We'll have it in the state of Florida alone, probably in the next 2 hours. But if you were to take every single one of those Democrats, especially lifelong Democrats, I would put all the money on the fact that there would be a recurring theme in that autopsy, if they autopsied the brain, that some chemical imbalance, something was misfiring. You have got to be mentally challenged at some level if you believe that liberalism in the way that it is today is healthy, if you think it's good. Now, Jimmy Kimmel, you don't need me to tell you this, but he got removed. And then the pressure from Hollywood and all the leftists got on Disney, who's a far left organization to begin with, for anyone, and I'm just guilty as anybody, to think that Disney was going to hold on to this. I mean, I'm rarely wrong in this sort of sphere. My buddy, one of my best friends, texted me and said, they're going to let Kimmel back, I think. And I said, no way. Disney's not going to do it. They're not. They're going to hold their ground. And I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Now, in his first night, on Monday night, or whatever night it was that he was back, what was it? Tuesday night, he wound up scoring the highest ratings his show has ever had. 6.3 million people tuned in to Jimmy Kimmel, and that is with 1/4 of his distribution being axed because Sinclair and Nexstar both said, we are going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel, which basically means that they're going to put something else in front of him. You're not going to see him. They're going to overlap something instead. Think about that. 1/4 of the available audience to him was not there, and he scores 6.3 million viewers per Nielsen. That's insane. Now, I'd have to believe that there were some Trump supporters who caved, who said, you know what, as much as I want to cut this guy out, I've got to see what this moron has to say. And they tuned in. But by and large, I don't think it was us. By and large, I think it was the liberals who are now going to celebrate Jimmy Kimmel as being, their leader. He has now got a new sense of fire in him. And I find his commentary at the core of why we have so many problems here in the United States. The hatred that is spewing into our streets starts on the media level. It starts on the media level. There's no doubt about it that the media is ultimately to blame. Now, you can take somebody like Jasmine Crockett and say, well, she's spewing the stuff too. Yes, but if she wasn't given the media appearances to do that, if she wasn't given the platform to do that, it wouldn't be spreading. So you have to blame the media. You have to. And, you would think that these media personalities, the CNNs and the MSNBCs and the ABC, NBC, CBSs, they'd come on and say, you know what, Jasmine, would really like to talk about policy. Let's talk about why it is that the district that you represent is one of the worst in Texas. Let's talk about why it is that the Democrat Party continues to support crime to fester. They don't do that. Instead, what they do is they lay up the ability for her to be a hater, to hate on Trump, to hate on MAGA, and then you just keep on hearing fascist, Nazi, Hitler, all the different recurring things. Well, Jimmy Kimmel is at the top of the list with Stephen Colbert when it comes to vile commentary. And on top of that, he is a downright liar. We're going to play our first clip here. This is what Jimmy Killen, I should call him Jimmy Killen, right? This is what Jimmy Killen has to say about what the president tried to do. Play. You don't have it chalked up?
The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke. He was somehow able to squeeze Colbert out of CBS. Then he turned his sights on me, and now he's openly rooting for NBC to fire Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers and the hundreds of Americans who work for their shows who don't make millions of dollars. And I hope that if that happens, or if there's even any hint of that happening, you will be 10 times as loud as you were this week. We have to speak out against this.
So here's the thing. Jimmy Kimmel gets away with lying once again. Jimmy Kimmel wasn't making a joke. Jimmy Kimmel basically came out to the American people and said dead straight, the killer, the accused killer, was part of MAGA. Now, what does that do? That misleads millions of people into thinking that MAGA is filled with crazy nuts who want to kill. There is a responsibility on the part of ABC and Disney to keep the American public safe. I mean, I was just at Disney when Disney decided to take him off. One of the favorite, I haven't been to Disney in years because of their wokeism. And I am a big, huge Disney fan in the sense that I've always had this tradition with our family. We used to do it once a year if we could, or at least once every other year. We go to Epcot Center and we walk around the loop of all the different countries. And now that my 3 oldest kids are older, the last few times that we've been there, Ryan and I, we do the same thing. We walk in through the back end, through the boardwalk hotel area. And so what we do is the first country you go to is UK, and they have a beer stand out there. They usually have Guinness or something else of that nature. And so what we do is we get ourselves 3 beers and we start doing our walk around doing the countries. It's so much fun. But I have pushed it off. I've pushed it off for years because I just cannot give Disney my money. Well, then when they get rid of Kimmel, I say, hey, we're going to go. Let's go. It's September. The crowds are going to be little. Let's go. And now where am I back? I'm here saying to myself, my God, I want to contact American Express and cancel my payment. Look what they just did. They're putting people in danger. And the funny thing is that if you walk into Disney, they are going to search your bag up and down. Mary had a pocketbook. I got it every time we went into a park. They searched her as if she looked like she was wearing full burqa. So they don't have a problem keeping you safe when you're on their property, because you know why. Because if, God forbid, there was a bombing or a killing there or something like that, nobody would go to Disney anymore. But they have no problem putting hate and vile commentary on the airwaves. How disgusting is that? Now, here's the thing. Johnny Carson used to be hysterical, and even Jay Leno was pretty funny. But there's nothing funny about Jimmy Kimmel, nor his guests. I'll give you an example. Last night, in what was supposed to be a funny skit, Kimmel puts on Robert De Niro, the number one hater of Trump in Hollywood, with a close number 2 being Alec Baldwin. But the number one hater in Hollywood of Donald Trump, by and large, is Robert De Niro. So here's the message that they wound up sending to ABC Jimmy Kimmel viewers. Play it.
It sounds like you got a call there, huh?
Hi, handsome. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President. Okay. You got it, sir. You got it. Right.
What did he say?
Look, I got to go. A couple of cases of Tylenol fell off a truck, and now I got to figure out how to put autism in them.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds tricky. So good luck with that, sir.
Good luck with you, and I'll be watching you, Kimmel. Maybe not on ABC. That's up to you.
I don't know about you. I don't find that funny at all. I don't find any humor in that, because let me tell you what's happening, okay? And there were only a certain amount of videos I could give Ryan before he was going to quit on me. One of the videos I wanted to play is there are women right now going to TikTok, pregnant women, to show their hatred for Trump. They are literally downing Tylenol. I mean, this is why I start the show off by saying that there is a mental illness. There is a legitimate mental illness in every Democrat. Think about being pregnant. You're supposed to love the baby inside your womb. You are going to show Trump how much you hate him and will disrespect him and put your baby in harm's way as a result. The videos are all over the place. You know what the videos are today? Other women coming out and saying, please don't do this. Stop doing this. Because women are now winding up in the last 24 hours in the emergency room with, Tylenol overdoses, if you will. They're making themselves sick. They're damaging their children. I mean, Tylenol just on its own, the damage it does to the liver and to the stomach. And there's a reason, it's not like Trump has an axe to grind with the makers of Tylenol. What he did was he asked the RFK Jr. to please come in and make America healthy again, because so many people told Trump along the way that there are toxins in everything they're giving us, and that big pharma is detrimental to the health of Americans. I have a book that's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. It is a recipe book / educational book, and it's all about the gut, because I had so many health issues with my stomach. And by and large, do you know what I know caused that? Tums, antacids, PPIs, H2 blockers. And I met a holistic guy and he said, you got to stop all of that. They got toxins in that crap. Stop putting the Pepto-Bismol into your stomach. It may be putting out the fire, but it's creating an underlying issue. And when I got rid of that and I started eating normal foods, all my problems, the ulcers were gone, the inflammation was gone, DML-CBD helped a bit too. All the issues I was having, the discomfort was gone, all by eating right and not taking these toxic things anymore. Trump's trying to help people, and these demonic Democrats want to make it sound like he is trying to hurt people. And then Jimmy Kimmel and Robert De Niro are going to go on, which what I feel is a public service announcement to people that say, hey, take more Tylenol. And then, and then these girls are going to be crybabying when their child comes out autistic. This is why I'm saying there is a problem on the left that has gone off the rails. And I don't know who's more dangerous at this point. And at the end of the show, I'd be curious to see what it is that you have to say. What's more dangerous at this point? The liberal Democrats or the Islamic terrorists? It almost feels like one and the same. It really does. And that's not an exaggeration. I'll give you an example. Ryan, we're going to get the picture ready here of the Georgetown poster. You got it ready? You may recall Tyler Robinson, the man who is accused of shooting and killing Charlie Kirk. One of the bullets that he engraved said, "Hey, fascist, catch." Pretty disgusting. At Georgetown University, the people from Turning Point USA sent this picture out to everybody, and Georgetown University finally said, okay, we'll make them take it down. Put it up, Ryan. Look at this. This is for a liberal gun club, and on the poster, it says, "Hey, fascist, catch." Leave it up there, Ryan. Leave it up there. The only political group that celebrates when Nazis die. Join the John Brown Club. Hey, fascist, catch. I mean, who does that? This is on a university. Donald Trump should strip Georgetown University of all federal funding. This is why kids are going to college. We used to have kids going to college so they could be engineers, so they could learn how to be lawyers and doctors and teachers. Now they're going to learn how to be radical protesters. Trump was just at the UN. I have a problem with the UN. That's going to be another show. I don't know why we have the UN in New York. Why are we inviting all the world's slime to New York? We don't have enough slime in New York already? We need more? We're actually inviting terrorists here. We're going to get to that part in the show in a second because I'm going to rip some people a new ass. But Trump is there at the UN and he's going to address the world. Now, the day before, I did a short video on this the other day. So for those of you who are watching all my videos on Facebook, not only do I want to say thank you, but I want to say you're going to hear me repeat something here. The Secret Service is doing a terrible job at protecting our president. I'm just going to say that straight out. Okay? And I appreciate the Secret Service. I once did a speech in Arizona. As a little side story. I did a speech in Arizona, and it was when I was making one of my They Come to America films, and I had just had a really rough day. I was over not far from a cartel, and I had to do this speech. I really didn't want to do it. I was so freaking tired, so exhausted. My adrenaline was still going through me. I just wanted to lay down. But there was 400 or 500 people at this place. There was no choice, and really good people, and they had planned for me to come for pretty much about a month. In fact, I shaped my filming schedule around this. And so I go, and usually I'm very friendly at these things where people will come up after that, and I'll take pictures, I'll sign autographs, all the other different stuff on the DVDs and stuff. And this particular time I said, please, I just need a break. If you don't mind, I'm not going to do any Q&A at the end, no autographs, no pictures or something like that. I know that's not like me. I've been here before. You people are great, but I'm really had a tough day. And everybody was pretty appreciative of it. And so I'm packing up my stuff, and of course there's always one that will not listen. So they come up to the stage, and it is rare that I am going to give somebody who comes to listen to me a face. But if I had a look to kill, that was the one. And I looked at him and I said, did you not understand my request? And he said to me, Dennis, I apologize, but I think you're going to like what I have to say. I'm retired Secret Service, and we have a pin. You may have seen people have this pin. It's a Secret Service pin. I'd like you to have it. And it's, you give this up. You give your pin up to somebody when you think that they are doing all they can to protect and serve for America. I mean, not only did I feel like an idiot, but to this day, I have two things. And when God takes me when I'm 93 years old, I know my son, one son's going to want to take my 9/11 cross, and the other son is going to wind up taking the Secret Service pin. And it's one of my most treasured possessions. So I am a huge, huge supporter of the Secret Service, but they are not protecting our president well at all. If the president of the United States is going to go to the UN, I would think that the Secret Service would have an entire team on scouring the internet to make sure that they're catching any bad actors or any plans or any plots. There was an article in the Independent called The Times that specifically said the day before that UN workers were joking that they were going to turn off the escalator. Ryan, start playing the B-roll. Here's a video from Trump and Melania at the UN. They walk in, and right when you walk in to the UN, you'll see that there is an escalator. And as Melania leads, because Trump is a gentleman, he's going to have his wife go first, and he follows. As they get on the escalator stops. Just their escalator, no other escalators. The escalator stops. Melania, thank goodness, is in great shape. Trump, too, even though he's in his late 70s, in great shape. And the thing just stops. And if you look at the other escalator next to it, it doesn't stop. So you're going to have somebody the day before put out that there's jokes going on, that they're going to stop the escalator. And then the second that the Trumps get on, not halfway up, but the second they get on, somebody stops that escalator. You think that's just happen chance? No. And this is what I'm talking about. So now if the Secret Service was on top of their job, if they were doing what they should have been doing, what they would have done is they would have had an agent standing at the escalator operator to make sure that nobody was going to screw around. But nobody did that. We could have had our president face plant there. It's not a joke. This isn't funny. But this is what the left does. And now Trump is calling for an investigation into who was operating that escalator and what happened. This was not by chance. This was on purpose. And that's what we need to do. We need to start keeping people, holding people accountable. If we do not, I guarantee you at some point, Donald Trump is going to be in another situation that's compromised, just like we saw in Pennsylvania. We have got to take these leftists at their word. We are getting so damn lazy. With that said, I want to now point your attention to another story that took place yesterday. This is in Texas, where an ICE facility was shot up by another maniac leftist whose one of his bullets read anti-ICE. And this is sort of the extrapolation of Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel getting up there saying bad things about Trump all the time. Well, when you've got Gavin Newsom and AOC and Hillary Clinton and all the biggest names in the Democrat Party constantly on social media, on their own feeds, on mainstream television, saying that the ICE agents are bad people, that they're Nazis, that they're carrying out concentration camps, roundups, and everything else, and that they need to take their masks off, that this is the Gestapo. The reason why the ICE agents have their masks on is because the liberals are as crazy as they are. I've told you the story of last week. I received a death threat 2 weeks ago, right after Charlie Kirk, right around the time, actually a couple of hours before Charlie Kirk was shot. I had gotten a death threat from somebody, and I've gotten plenty. I've gotten my share of vile messages every single day on social media, so it's nothing new. But this one stood out a little bit. In fact, the police are doing an investigation into this guy right now. And the three detectives were here at my house. They were taking statements. They were looking at my laptop. They were seeing where all the stuff was coming in from. And we were talking about this. We were talking about the dangers of being in law enforcement. And the one guy that was here used to be a sniper in the military. And I'm not going to get into detail, but he was in an incident here in the county where I live. And he actually had to shoot somebody. The amount of threats that he has received for trying to keep people safe is astronomical. He's got kids. He says he worries about going out in public with his kids because people have become unhinged. So when you hear the governor of California blasting ICE agents who are basically doing their job, which is to carry out immigration law, to round people up, if you want to use that, and deport them, because the law in the United States clearly dictates that you cannot be here illegally. And if you cause crime here beyond the crime of crossing over into our borders, you need to be held accountable and deported. And so ICE creates these detainees, these detainer warrants, and they go to grab these people. And what happens? These states, they let these illegal aliens go out the back door. Or the sheriff's departments or the police departments, they don't hold it. They don't detain the illegal alien. They let them out in the general public because there's sanctuaries. There is no such thing as a sanctuary city and sanctuary state. You can call yourself a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state, but there is absolutely nowhere in the Constitution or any of our immigration laws that say you can be a sanctuary. I mean, imagine that. You know, cocaine is illegal. Well, why don't we just have sanctuary cocaine houses? Oh, you can't do cocaine in the general public, but if you go to this house, you could do cocaine. What the hell? We're allowing hardened criminals to do whatever they want. And the reason why ICE agents are under fire is because the leaders of this country, Congress, the people on The View, all these leftists, protecting the illegal alien at the detriment of the U.S. citizen. And I tell you what, when Trump picked J.D. Vance as his VP, I liked it. I wasn't thrilled. I wanted Ben Carson. But ultimately, let me tell you something. It was a good choice. J.D. Vance is a great messenger. He is going to carry the torch. He is going to be the torchbearer for MAGA. And I got to be honest, I'm almost more excited about him and the likes of Ron DeSantis leading this country going forward than I am even about Trump. Because I think they're going to be ultimately more conservative and they're going to be more solid in many of the different things. Because you know why? They're not hated as much as Trump. Not now anyway. Nobody's ever been hated as much as Trump on the left. These guys are solid. Here's what J.D. Vance had to say to Governor Newsom and his ilk for the things that they say about ICE and putting ICE agents in harm's way.
Because here's what happens when Democrats like Gavin Newsom did say that these people are part of an authoritarian government. When the left-wing media lies about what they're doing, when they lie about who they're arresting, when they lie about the actual job of law enforcement, what they're doing is encouraging crazy people to go and commit violence. You don't have to agree with my immigration policies. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump's immigration policies. But if your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell and you have no place in the political conversation of the United States of America.
You can go to hell. Now, people will say on the left that J.D. Vance is now spreading hate, telling somebody to go to hell. Listen, how many times are people supposed to be punched in the face until they punch back? Now, I know, I got my Bible right here. I know Jesus will tell us to turn the other cheek. But Jesus also died on the cross because he recognized the fact that we're sinners, okay? So I think J.D. Vance still is going to have his ticket to heaven. He's going to say sorry for saying what he said, but can we blame him? Can we blame him for trying to protect the people who are trying to protect us? Now, if you don't think there's real threats, if you don't think that Governor Newsom and his ilk and their rhetoric is making an impact on leftists, we're going to play a video for you right now. These sort of videos that we're going to play for you right now of leftists making threats, making promises, there are so many of them. There are so many of them. We just don't have the people to go investigate every single one. Play it.
Message is for all the ICE agents out there today. When Donald Trump's reign of terror is over, we will be rounding you all up and putting you in jail. We're going to raid and destroy your homes. We're going to handcuff you and take you away in front of your families for breaking the Constitution of the United States of America. That's why we hold cameras to your face, so that we can have facial recognition for when Donald Trump's out of office. Because the tables are gonna turn on you. Me personally, I'll fight a fucking ICE agent. There's nothing illegal of that. They are hiding their faces. They could be criminals. I'll take my chances in court. Fuck around and find out. Have a nice day.
Now, I don't know about you, but I'd love to see the ICE agents take that video, send it to Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and say, are you going to protect us? You're going to go to this guy right now? Does this guy not sound like he's completely unhinged? He just made threats against law enforcement, against federal agents. That guy should be tossed in jail. We're going to talk in a few minutes about James Comey. So I don't want to get too deep into holding people accountable until then. But ask yourself this question. If a guy like that winds up getting arrested and tossed in jail, and we see it on Fox News and throughout social media, do you know how many of those videos are going to stop? What happens is these guys make these videos, then they go get investigated, and nobody ever hears from them again. We need these people to be made into examples. I said this the other day on another one of the short videos for here on Facebook. And I ask you, please, every time you see one of my videos, even the show, if you haven't hit the share button, please hit the share button. It's the algorithms in Facebook say, oh, people are sharing, people are commenting. Keep on hitting the like button, all of that. The algorithms see the activity and they say, we got to share this out to more people. So please, please help me help you. But I said this the other day. Tom Homan, the border czar, had originally threatened Gavin Newsom for arrest for harboring and aiding and abetting illegal aliens. Gavin Newsom laughed at him, said, yeah, come on, come get me, tough guy. And Tom just let it happen. He just let it go. Why aren't we going to get him? Let's lock him up. Even if he's locked up and he gets out in 2 hours from then, let's keep on locking him up. You watch this crap stop. Let's lock these people up. Not because I'm cruel, not because of any other reason other than they're breaking the law. And for as long as you allow people to break the law, they're going to keep on doing it. And this violence and this hatred is spreading, and it's spreading dangerously. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to show you another thing here from Antifa. Let me get this thing up, Ryan. We're going to put up that Antifa photograph. I got to get a picture of it here on my phone. I'm going to find where it is on my phone, on my laptop. Hold on one second. Ryan, if you want to put it up there, we could put it up there. There it is. I found it. Okay. So look at this. A call for anarchists' action in America. A call in America. Occupy and disrupt ICE facilities in every city. This is Antifa. Do you see this? This is Antifa. They even give you the website. And this is why Trump is designating these people as a freaking domestic terrorist organization. They're calling point blank a call for further attacks on ICE. And here, let me read this to you. This is from X. It's on my X page. Ready? The Post also explains Antifa's ideology. Sociopathy, chaos, destruction, and violence for the sake of becoming ungovernable. This is why Antifa's focus changes from Occupy-related rioting to BLM Trantifa. Anything that they can use to incite violence, they will exploit. This is a quote. Every fist that hurls a piece of concrete through a bank or an ICE agent's car window has the potential to ignite a wildfire. For some of us, chaos and destruction are the only activities in which we experience life as liberated creativity. This is what this website says. And we're allowing this under the guise of free speech. I don't get it. I don't get it. Keep in mind what these people are trying to protect, okay? They're not trying to protect something that is wholesome in the United States. It's not like Trump is saying, you know what, we're going to take the American flags down, and people are trying to fight to keep the American flags up. This isn't what they're doing. They are protecting the most vile people in the world. Ryan, throw up the picture of the illegal alien from El Salvador. Do we have that picture? Tell me when it's up. Okay. See this man right here? Let me tell you about this guy. All right? Let me tell you about this guy. He's 21 years old. He's from El Salvador. He came here during the Obama presidency. He came part of a family unit, if you will. He was given a court date for future time. That future time landed when Biden was president. He goes to his court date, shock, shock. And what happens? He's allowed to go. He's not held. He's just allowed to go, free to be in America, be wherever it is that you want. Really? Really? So what does he do with that freedom? Turns out he's got a little baby sister. And so whatever was going on, I don't know the reason why, but there's no justification for what I'm about to tell you. This piece of crap, who, by the way, along the way, has been arrested for having no license plates on his car, for having no insurance, all driving infractions, but always let go. He took a power cord, like the power cord that you plug your computer or your toaster in or something. He wrapped it around the baby and strangled the baby. The baby's in critical condition. This is what Antifa, this is what Gavin Newsom, this is what Kathy Hochul, this is what Democrats, Jasmine, AOC is protecting. That's why I say to you, this is a mental disorder. Liberalism is a mental disorder. It gets worse. Ryan, we're going to be playing the tractor trailer video in a second. Ryan is about to show you a video, not just yet, Ryan. Ryan's about to show you a video that is heart-wrenching. Now, you may recall about a month ago, here in Florida, there was an illegal alien. He was Indian. He came over here, crossed the border, and got his CDL license. Drive a truck. Can't speak English, but he got it from California. He takes that truck. He's in Florida. He's actually in the area where I live. And he's driving down I-95. And if you've never driven I-95 here in Florida, there are a lot of turnarounds for the cops. So you'll have the middle divider, and then there's a turnaround. It's not a turnaround for trucks. It's not a turnaround for cars. This is an interstate. But this prick is in his right lane, and he must have missed the exit. So he's in his right lane traveling, and he decides that he is going to cross the other lanes and take that U-turn with no regard for anybody who's behind him. And as he makes that U-turn, everybody's seen the video, as he makes the U-turn, one of the cars, boom, hits into the truck. People are all dead. 3 people dead. Well, we have another one. This time it's a Chinese driver. Look what this driver does. Play the video, Ryan. Imagine being the person in the car. You're driving, you're slowing down in traffic, and all of a sudden, bam, you get rear-ended by a person who shouldn't even be driving, who can't speak English. Dead. Dead. I can't understand what it is that these people are protecting. They're carrying out the destruction of America. It is the destruction of America. There is no other way of saying it. There's no other way of saying it. And so I'm going to take this, and we're going to dovetail this into the next part of the destruction of America, which we have to stop. And I don't know exactly how to stop it other than shine a light on it and to get everybody very up in arms about what it is. And this is the importation of people from the Middle East who are dead set on creating the United States into a state of Islam. And if you don't think it's real, if you don't think it's going to happen, when I'm done with this segment here, if you think I'm over-exaggerating, if you think that I am fear-mongering, then you too are insane like the Democrats are. Because I'm giving you the receipts here. I'm giving you the videos. I'm giving you what's happening. There is a man right now running for mayor in New York City. He is leading the race significantly. Cuomo is a far distant two. This man is going to become the mayor of New York City. He is going to be the first Muslim socialist in New York City. And you say to yourself, you ask yourself, how in heaven's name is that happening? 9/11 wasn't even 25 years ago. How is this happening? The answer is simple. It's called mass migration on the legal end. 1.2 million people a year, every single year since 1991. Do the math. Then these people are having babies. They're pumping babies out in mass numbers. You got my son 2 weeks ago on this show telling you he's afraid of having a family because he doesn't know if he's going to be able to afford it. Maybe one kid, maybe two kids if we're lucky. These people having 6, 7, 8, 9 kids. In some cases, these guys are having multiple wives and having kids, and they're all on the government's teat. Can't afford it, Dad. Can't afford it. We are diluting the American citizen that has always been the American citizen, and we're handing over our country to people who have doctrine written that they are going to take over the country from within. And they used to hide it. It used to be like a secret plan that we found out in the early 2000s after 9/11 in the Holy Land trial, the biggest trial the government has ever put out. We found the doctrine from the Muslim Brotherhood. They don't hide it anymore. They're saying it, as you're going to see here. And so when you ask yourself, how is there going to be a socialist Muslim mayor in New York City? The answer is, who do you think's voting for him? Have you seen New York City? The people don't think and look like me. They don't think and look like you. London doesn't even hide it anymore at all. I'm going to give you an example. We didn't play the video. I didn't send it to Ryan because he didn't have enough time. And my fault. But this is a great video. Imagine this. There's a man, looks like me, in the UK, right? Probably goes back, lineage, probably goes back 3 generations. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. And he is outside, I think it was the Pakistani embassy, and he is protesting. He's got the Quran in his hand. He's saying how dangerous it is. A guy comes out with a knife and starts stabbing this guy. He's attacking him with a knife. It's all caught on camera. I will put it on my Facebook page, a link to my ex. You know, by the way, just as a side note, for those people who follow me here and you're like, why do I always have to go to your ex to see the videos? I don't dare put them on here on this platform. Are you kidding me? So on X, it's a lot more forgiving for telling the truth. So that's why I'd always go there. It's x.com/trustdml. If you don't have an X account, you should probably open one. If you do have one, you should follow me. x.com/trustdml. All the videos are there. So this video is on there, and I will put a link later on Facebook to it. You'll see it. This guy is stabbing the guy. It's all caught on camera. Thankfully, the guy lived. He got in trouble for issuing what they said was vile anti-religious commentary. And the guy who did the stabbing got nothing. A couple of hours of community service. It was attempted murder. This is what's happening over and over and over again. Sharia and pro-Muslim law and rules are taking over. Now, first video, Ryan, is of the nut with his face in New York City who says he's going to kill Zionists. Tell me when you got it chalked up. This video is on my X. Got it? For those people who are just listening to the show, I want to describe this. This guy is completely dressed in what would be Middle Eastern garb. His face is all covered, and he's got a Hamas headband around his head. 2 Jewish men go up to him. Here's the first 25 seconds of this.
Fight the Zionists. Yeah.
Omar, are you going to go kill Jews?
We're not going to kill Zionists.
You're going to kill Zionists?
Zionists.
How many Zionists do you want to kill?
As many as I can.
You want to kill as many Zionists as you can?
Yeah, Zionists. I'm a Zionist.
That's interesting. How old are you that you want to kill Zionists?
Huh?
So you want to kill me?
You're a Zionist?
I'm a Zionist. So you want to kill me?
Let's go to Palestine and we'll celebrate.
You want to kill me right here?
Left the Palestine.
That's right in the middle of streets of New York. I mean, that video is not from Yemen. It's not from the UK. It's right here in New York. There was a report on OAN, One American News Network, and this is the beginning, my friends, of no-go zones in New York. We will have no-go zones. And if you don't know what a no-go zone is, I will explain it to you after. How long is this video, Ryan? About a minute and a half? The one that we're going to play right now? I think it's about a minute and a half, right? We have this video from OAN. Take a look. What? No, this is not the baseball. This is the cops, showing the cop cars from OAN. Yes.
New Yorkers say they're shocked after seeing Muslim patrol cars roaming their neighborhoods like police squads. These Muslim community patrols just began operating in Brooklyn this year, and according to the Council on American Islamic Relations, they are the first of their kind in the United States. The patrols sprang up as an apparent response to some 14 biased incidents against New York Muslims in 2017. Actually, a rather low number, considering there's over 8.6 million people living in the city. According to the group's vice president, Noor Rabah, the group currently has 30 members, but plans on rapidly expanding to cover the entire city. He describes the Muslim patrols like a neighborhood watch, but on steroids, with members dressed like police officers and driving cars identical to police squad cars. Residents say they're uncomfortable with the patrols, which they describe as being similar to Sharia police. Others have raised doubts about the purpose of the patrols, saying New York's police department is already very diverse, and their only job is to patrol the city streets and protect people from harassment or crime. So why does there need to be a Muslim group tasked with the same job as the police? Even other Muslims have raised questions about the need for the patrols, with residents expressing fears this is just another form of Sharia law enforcement. Similar groups can already be seen in other major European cities in Denmark, Germany, France, Sweden, and Britain. These patrols have been going on for years, and a CNN report caught Muslims from a patrol in London harassing residents. In Whitechapel, one man can be heard insulting a gay man, calling him offensive names and telling him he wasn't welcome in a Muslim area. Others denounce residents for drinking, claiming this is a Muslim area and alcohol is not permitted. They also harassed a woman as she was crossing the street, warning her that her short skirt was not allowed in Muslim areas. And now, with the arrival of these Muslim patrols to New York City, Americans are becoming worried they'll fall under the same harassment for not following Islamic practices.
So, it's funny, while we break here, I just look at all of my books up there. And what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to keep these close to me. I mean, I have done, just so this way you understand, I have done a lot of study on this, okay? The Islamic doctrine of women, a 2-hour Quran. You could learn all about the Quran. And Sharia, the law for non-Muslims. So this way you understand what we're up against. And of course, this one here, no-go zones. No-go zones. We have a team member here, Shirley Blanchard. She says, Dennis, tell them your waiter story. I'll tell you a quick waiter story that I experienced in Tampa. So I play in this thing for the New York Yankees. Ryan and I play in this thing. It's a charity thing. We play every couple of years. It's baseball. You go to New York Yankee camp in Tampa. That's where their pre-training is before the season starts. And so all week we're at this restaurant. I think it was a Holiday Inn or something of that nature. And so we're eating, the guys on the team, a couple of us, we're eating dinner every night together. And we had the same waiter. And I can tell this waiter is a Muslim guy. I can tell. And at the end, my buddies say, all right, let's get some extra money for this guy for an extra tip. I said, I'm not in. Now, anybody who knows me knows I'm the most generous guy in the world. I'm the greatest tipper of the world. I over tip. And I said, I'm not giving any. And they said, why? I said, because that guy right there hates every single one of you. I said, what do you mean he hates every single one of us? I said, that guy right there would absolutely kill you in 2 seconds flat. And he said, well, what do you mean? Come on, Dennis. What? I said, all right, watch this. So the waiter comes back over and I said, let me ask you a question. I said, are you a Muslim? He says, yeah, I am a Muslim. I said, all right. I said, what's your take on women? Are women as equal as men? What does it say, to somebody like you? How do you look at this? And he says, no, women are not equal to men. And I said, okay, why? And he says, well, like, example, where's your wife right now? I said, my wife's home. Okay. Does she go to work? I said, no, she's a mother to my children, so she works at home pretty hard. I said, he goes, you make all the money, right? I said, yeah, in this particular case, I do. He says, yeah. He goes, women are not as important as men. Men are more important in the Muslim religion than women. Okay. I said, let me ask you this. I said, we're Christians here. I said, are we the infidel? He says, you are the infidel if you prevent me from praying. So I said, if I prevent you from praying, he says, yes, I have to pray multiple times during the day, to Allah. I said, all right, so let me ask you this. If I have this establishment, if this Hilton is mine, and you tell me that you need to go outside and pray, and I tell you, no, get your ass back to work, you got tables to serve, I said, that would be grounds for you to kill me. And he said, yes, you're preventing me from praying to Allah. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. Now, Ryan's going to give you another. Ryan, this is the men chanting in the street. If you think that Dearborn, Michigan and New York City have the hold on all things Muslim, like, Dennis, come on, it's not that bad. It's not that bad throughout the country. Okay. I'm going to play a video for you right now. It looks like this is something that you would see in Yemen, in Syria. This is Houston, Texas. So, if that isn't problematic to you, Ryan, we also have the video of the girl who is promoting Abacan. You know what I'm talking about? She has the headscarf on. Okay. There is an incredible movement now happening because the people of this faith they've got our number. They realize, for the sake of political correctness, for the sake of apology, that we're really not going to do anything. We're going to be just like they were in London, and they know that what they did in London and what they're doing in Germany, they're going to be able to do here. And now they're actually having conventions. And these conventions are being held, and they're just blatantly saying, America sucks. Here is a girl who is promoting what's called Abacan, which is going on right now.
It's finally happening. 5 days, ArabCon is bringing the heart of Arab advocacy right to our city. This is more than an event. It's a movement. We're talking powerful speakers, unforgettable moments, and a thunder of voices rising together in solidarity. Friday night alone is going to be electric. A gathering you'll never forget. And there's going to be advocates from every corner of the nation coming. And we need you there, standing shoulder to shoulder, raising our voices for justice, unity, and power. Solidarity is strength. Don't watch history. Be a part of it. And I'll see you guys there on Friday.
All people in America have the freedom of speech. I'm not going to tell somebody that they can't have an event just because I don't believe in what it is they're saying. That's ridiculous. However, when you listen to what they're saying and it impacts your life and it impacts your country and it has a general warning attached to it, then you got to pay attention. Unfortunately, Americans are more concerned about who's going to go to the World Series this year than whether or not they're going to have a country left. Here is a man in Dearborn, Michigan, telling you straight out what the plan is for the United States of America. Here you go.
Achieve the victory. We haven't done anywhere near enough. And the people here, I promise you, we do feel ashamed. We do feel like we're not doing enough. We do feel like change needs to come, because change must come. And in the form that it must come is that this empire, the American empire that's been hurting our people since the beginning, the imperial Western powers that have been hurting our people since the beginning, they must fall. And inshallah, they will fall. And my message to the people of Gaza and the oppressed peoples across the world is that there are people here, both young and old, who are going to be willing to fight and are willing to put their lives and everything they can on the line to bring these empires down, because they must come down.
Okay. Ryan, you have the picture of the 3 Muslim men? There's a photograph of them? Okay, I'm going to read something to you that just took place in Texas. You ready? I'll read it to you. Ryan's going to put up the picture of the 3 men. Tell me when you got the picture up, Ryan. You got him? The broadcast is waiting for a signal. It should resume shortly. It does that? All right, don't do the picture. All right, take it down. All right, there's the 3 men. All right, go ahead. You can take it down. Okay. You saw the 3 men. Ryan's saying that the pictures are interrupting the feed, so we're not going to put up any more pictures. But that picture right there, 3 suspects were arrested after a Texas youth baseball coach was shot during a pregame prayer with his players, according to local media. Mahmoud Abdulsaman Rababa, 23, Ahmad Mawid, 21, and Mufasa Mohammed Matalia, 27, have been arrested. According to the Whaler County Sheriff's Office, the men fired their guns from a nearby pasture towards the baseball field. The coach was reportedly saying a prayer before the game with his team when he was shot in the shoulder. He literally took the bullet for a child. The field known as the Rack claims the men were target practicing from 600 to 700 yards away. The coach was airlifted to a hospital and has since been released. The men were taken into custody on felony charges of deadly conduct with a firearm. Here is the video from WKHOW 11 in Texas. Look at the report.
It happened at the Rack Katy Sports Complex, sending parents and coaches running for cover. Troy Class has more of the story.
The Rack Katy is here in the middle of a rural part of Waller County, where coaches say they heard gunfire all weekend. Then on Sunday, bullets started flying through the baseball fields. Teams from across Southeast Texas were gathered for this tournament, including the Houston Warriors, a Warriors coach wounded in the shooting.
He literally took the bullet for a child that was to his left. And so thankfully, we avoided a major disaster. Still very, very emotional over it.
Team founder Andy Bays wasn't at the field, but says his coach was engaged in a pregame prayer with his team when the bullets started flying. An online stream captures the gunshots.
When he was struck by the bullet, his first reaction was to get down to the ground, cover his kids, and get them to a safe space.
Today, the Waller County Sheriff's Office says investigators have identified 3 suspects who allegedly fired guns from a nearby pasture in the direction of the field. The Rack Katy stating on Facebook, 3 individuals were target practicing 600 to 700 yards away, though they were not using a nearby gun range. Bays says the coach was taken to the hospital via a helicopter.
Yeah. I want to go back to the UN for a second, okay? Now, I've said this many times before, and you all know this. You know, I voted for Trump 3 times, and I think he is doing a really great job in many different areas. But there are other places where there are epic fails. And one of those epic fails was on display this week at the UN. There is a terrorist, and this terrorist once had a $10 million bounty on his head from the State Department. He was one of the leaders of Al Qaeda. He spun off his own group. He has killed thousands of people, many of them Christians. And believe it or not, he is now the president of Syria because they toppled over Assad, you may recall. He's changed his name. And now he wears a suit instead of terrorist garb. The United States of America gave this man a visa. The State Department gave this man a visa to come here and speak at the UN. He has been all over U.S. media. He has been taking selfies of himself all over the place in New York City. I mean, we had the pictures here, but Ryan's afraid that the pictures are going to interrupt the feed. But you see the poster. I mean, it's on my Facebook page. The poster, the $10 million bounty on this man's head. Right now in Syria, again, on my X account, you will see videos that are happening now in Syria where Christian communities are being burnt to the ground. Not many years ago, there were 3 million Christians in Syria. Now there are less than 300,000. It is a genocide. Nobody in the media is covering it because it's Christians dying. They're only going to cover the Palestinians who are dying because they attacked the Israelis on October 7. They're only going to show that and free Palestine. But they're not going to show the Christians who are having everything burned down. They're being killed. They're being forced out. Their daughters are being raped. We invited this guy. But not only did we invite this guy, but we got Marco Rubio taking photographs with this guy. Now, listen, I'm all for people. Yeah, it's coming up as a bad signal. I'm all for people. That's good. Take it down. I'm all for people rehabilitating themselves. I believe you commit a crime, you go, jail, 4 years, 4 months, 40 years. I believe you could rehabilitate yourself. Unless, of course, you are an Islamic terrorist. Then you're not going to. For Marco Rubio to make me think that this Islamic nut who is burning down cities and towns in Syria as we speak, that this guy is a new guy, is insane. As I've explained before on this show, as I've explained in the videos I've been putting up every single day on YouTube and Facebook and all these places here, in the Quran, it explicitly says that you may be dishonest, you may be deceitful, you may lie if it is protecting Allah and jihad, which is religious war. So this guy's coming over to the UN, shaking hands with Rubio, giving speeches, no doubt helping this whole anti-Israel stance take place, where France and other people are now saying that they recognize Palestine as its own state. We're making it happen. How do you think Houston got to the way it is? How do you think New York got to the way it is? How do you think Dearborn got to the way it is? Do you think that these people just all came over in the border? No, they're coming over through legal immigration. Trump has done nothing to stop this. Nothing. If we do not stop legal immigration into this country, the videos that I've shown you in Houston, the no-go zones that are now, patrols in New York, these are going to go wild, and in your lifetime. In your lifetime. If we're going to go after the bad actors, we have to go after all of them. We just can't decide we're going to go after James Comey and not go after the people who say that they're going to light an ICE facility on fire, or the people who say that they're going to take down America because we've been unfair to them. We can't just point to some and not to others. And I'm all for going after James Comey. And that's what's going to happen. James Comey is going to be indicted in the next couple of days, if not today. There's only a week left until the statute of limitations are gone to get him for his role in the Russia hoax. We all know what James Comey did. We all know that he was a bad actor and that he was dishonest and that he lied to Congress. We all know this. And yet none of them want to go after their own. The DOJ, all these other U.S. attorneys, nobody wants to go after their own. I'll tell you why they don't want to go after him. Because what it's going to do, it's going to open up Pandora's box and there's going to be a long chain. You think James Comey did all this on his own? Here's basically what I think happened. Going back without going too deep. And I said this years ago and I was told I was crazy, and it turns out to be I am correct. And if we indict him, we should, even if he's not found guilty in a court of law, we should do it because all of that discovery is going to wind up enlightening people as long as we don't go redacting everything. In short, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama had a plan. And that was for Hillary Clinton to continue on the Obama doctrine. They were two freaking peas in a pod. They committed multiple different atrocities on the United States of America, including what they allowed happen on September 11th over in Libya, Benghazi. They lied to the American people that it was a YouTube video that was negative about Allah that created the uprising. Baloney. They all knew it was going to happen. Ambassador Stevens begged for help. He was ignored. He was denied. Uranium One with Vladimir Putin. All of these things that the Clintons and the Obamas did are, as far as I'm concerned, anti-America. And Donald Trump comes on the scene. And at first they all laughed at Donald Trump, that he was a circus act. Oh my God, look, he's so funny, he's so unhinged, let's put him on. Don't you remember ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC? They all wanted the ratings. They kept on showing all of his live events. Why? You think that they were trying to promote MAGA? No, they were saying, this guy's a circus clown. He's saying so many outrageous things. This is great ratings. Let's do it. Well, what they did was they alerted the United States of America to a man who said, I've had enough of watching my country be flushed down the toilet bowl, and I want to bring it back. I want to make it great again. And people who would have never voted for a Republican saw this and said, I agree with this, and there's no way, even though I'm a Democrat, that I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton because she's horrible. And so they started to recognize that they had a problem on their hands, even though they didn't admit it publicly. And so quietly they got together and they said, how can we get rid of him? And that's how they came up with the Steele dossier and the Russia hoax. But in order to get that, you needed to have somebody in the inside to help. And so what happens? They bring in James Comey and they tell James Comey, here's the plan. This is what we got to do. And James Comey, being a far leftist, he says, yes, of course, I'll help. I'll do my part. But what James Comey didn't think about on his way to committing the crimes is that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were going to throw him up in case they ever got caught. He was going to be the fall guy. You think Obama or Clinton's going to go down? And at some point, Comey figured this out. Of course, after he did his whole part in selling a BS story, you remember that? He called a press conference in July. Yeah. We've done our investigation, and though there was some sloppy stuff with the server for Hillary Clinton, we do not see that there's anything here to prosecute. First of all, never in the history of the United States of America has a director of the FBI gone up on national television, called his own press conference, and said, we don't think that we should prosecute. That's not how it works. The way it works is the FBI goes out and collects data. They collect evidence. They hand it over to the DOJ, which is their bosses, and then the DOJ says, okay, we are or we are not going to indict. The FBI doesn't make that decision. But in this particular case, James Comey is going to control the narrative. And of course he's going to, because Obama's DOJ wasn't going to stand in the way. You think Eric Holder is going to stop this from happening? And so what happens along the way, James Comey finds out more stuff and whatever may say, and he sees that he's going to be the fall guy. And he says, you think I'm going to be the fall guy on this? I'm not going to be the fall guy on this. And then all of a sudden the love triangle between Obama and Hillary and Comey starts to fall apart. And that's why he comes out in October and says, you know what, maybe we should revisit this whole server thing. And that's why now the Democrats, they all said they hated him because what? Because they think he caused Hillary Clinton the election. They went from all being in love to James Comey protecting his own ass. And yes, I truly believe he lied to Congress, and he is unhinged. And I'll give you an example of how it is. I go back. There's a little something not firing in all of these brains. That man went and took seashells and made 8647. You remember that whole thing? The message, and then posted it on, I think it was his Instagram account or his X account. 8647. You know what that stands for. And Trump's finally like, hey, Pam Bondi, hey, DOJ, let's go after this guy. Time's running out. And so they're going to indict him. And we're going to discover things. And it's going to be fantastic. But here's the thing. If James Comey is not held accountable, it's going to happen again. Nobody ever gets held accountable. Everybody winds up just getting off. We've got a chance. Look, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about stopping the illegal immigration to this country and carrying out deportations. It doesn't matter if you're talking about cracking down on sanctuary cities. It doesn't matter if you're talking about turning off immigration, because we see what's happening to this Judeo-Christian country that we have. It is slowly but surely turning into an Islamic state. Go look at London. We are repeating the blueprint. And now you look at James Comey. Nobody ever, you name me one person in government who has ever been held accountable other than Elliot Spitzer, the governor of New York, for taking whatever it was, prostitutes into a hotel room, or Anthony Weiner for taking pictures of his wiener and sending it to a young girl. Other than those two, nobody, and George Santos, nobody other than those three have ever been held accountable. And meanwhile, these people are committing crimes every day. The amount of money they're making on insider trading, I'm looking at right now. The NASDAQ is plummeting. All the stuff is plummeting. Do you know how many people in Congress right now are making a ton of money because of whatever's plummeting? They probably had the inside track on that. And we're all paying the price. Nothing's happening. Nobody gets in trouble for anything. Except for you and me. Don't dare double park your car. You're going to get a ticket. And if you don't pay the ticket, they're going to come and they're going to take your license away. They're going to take your car away. You're going to have to pay a double fine. But unless, of course, you're voted into Congress, then there's no problem. So we're going to be covering that big time with this whole thing with James Comey, because there's no doubt that he's going to be indicted. Make sure that you have the DML News app downloaded, and make sure that you're always checking back here on the Facebook page and on my X account, because you'll see all the stuff as it happens. But the best way to make sure you never miss anything is, of course, with the DML News app. Now, two of the things, we're going to start winding up the show here, but two of the things that I'm going to incorporate into the show every week. We used to do this, and we stopped it. We're going to bring it back now that we have this new and improved DML podcast. And Ryan just loves spending his whole morning cutting clips, right? Yeah, he's laughing over there. We're going to have the I Love Trump segment, and I'm going to highlight things that Trump does that I absolutely love. Now, sometimes it's just downright funny stuff, and that's the case today. Take a look. This is the mural, Ryan. Take a look at what President Trump and his administration have set up in the White House honoring past presidents. It's hysterical.
House is unveiling a presidential walk of fame featuring portraits of U.S. presidents, with the exception of former President Joe Biden. The new display just outside the Oval Office along the colonnade there shows a framed photo of an auto pen writing Biden's signature in place of the former president's portrait. The White House released a photo today of President Trump looking at.
So we got the auto pen. I mean, it is hysterical. It is literally hysterical that he does that. I love it, and that's why you got to love Trump. He brings a lot of excitement to the White House. Doesn't always do things that I think is the betterment of America, like taking in more over 1 million people every year. But I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on. How good is that? Poor Ryan. Ryan's cut so many clips here. We got one more. So we used to run a segment called The Crazy Left. And I loved it. I loved it. And people loved it. And so we have a video today of a crazy leftist. And then I'll say my adios to it. But just so this way you know who this is. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner made a child. And that child is as far left as they come, man. Here is Ben Affleck's daughter telling you why it is that we have to bring back mandates for masks.
For adults, the relentless beat of back to normal, ignoring, downplaying, and concealing both the prevalence of airborne transmission and the threat of long COVID, manifested in a series of choices. Young people lacked real choice in the matter and information about what was being chosen for us. Here's what we know about SARS-CoV-2. It is airborne, floating and lingering in the air. One infection can result in disabling damage to almost every cell in the body, from the brain and heart to the nerves and blood vessels. Every subsequent infection increases the risk of long COVID and places people who already have it in greater danger. Here's what we don't know, is what it does to reinfect children over and over and over again with no endpoint in sight from the day they are born. We are about to find out. As Dr. Akiko Iwasaki says, at this point, the whole population is the control group. And after only 5 years, long COVID has surpassed asthma as the most common chronic illness in children. 5 years. I am terrified for the children who do not or soon will not know a world without debilitating pain and exhaustion, who cannot trust their bodies to play, explore, and imagine, and who will not know the potential of their own minds unfettered by the cognitive damage from a COVID-19 infection. And I am furious on their behalf. It is neglect of the highest order to look children in the eyes and say, we knew how to protect you, and we didn't do it. We have access to a technology to prevent airborne disease, something that millions of our ancestors and millions of people around the world today would kill for, and we refuse to use it. And I shudder to think of where we will be in another 5 years of unmitigated infection and reinfection. But let me say on the topic of generational memory that while I imagine no one in this room was alive in the time of Jon Snow or Ignaz Semmelweis, many of you fought the long and hard battle against indoor smoking. My only memory of that era, at almost 20 years old, is being confused as a child about the no smoking signs on planes. Who would do that? That's gross. My hope for this event and my belief in this community rest on the belief that we can and we must do that again. We can recognize filtered air as a human right as intuitively as we do filtered water. We can create clean air infrastructure that is so ubiquitous and so obviously necessary, tomorrow's children don't even know why we need it. We need the people who remember 2020, who were not, like me, 14 in 2020, to be loud about the world that we were promised at the onset of the pandemic, when we and our institutions promised each other that if we only got out of that desperate acute phase, we would do everything we could to protect our communities going forward.
So there's the crazy leftist of the day. And if that doesn't tell you how bizarre the brain is of the leftist, I don't know what other video would tell you that. I go back to what I said in the beginning of the show here. Here is my sort of my journal. My son bought me the book, and here's day one of the whole new DML News podcast, 9/25/25. And I told you, other than what we talked about here today and what my feelings were about the show, somebody's going in the book. One of you going in the book, and I'm going to tell you right now who's going to go in the book. The message of all the things here I try to read of the show. Joe Neal Mills. This is what Joe Neal Mills writes. Amen. Accountability through consequences is the only thing that will change things for the better to what should be normal. Law and order has been ignored long enough. Left has no moral compass any longer. If those like Comey, Hillary, Obama, Schiff, etc. don't face accountability, the nut jobs they help create will never respect law and order again. And I think what Joe Neal Mills says right there is the framework of what today's show is about. If you're not going to hold Jimmy Kimmel accountable by taking away the FCC license that ABC holds because he knowingly lied to the public, what's the point of having the rules of the FCC? If you are not going to hold accountable the people who are calling for violence on ICE facilities and ICE agents, whether it's the governor of California or whether it's some nut job on a TikTok video, what's the point of having immigration laws? If you are not going to protect one nation under God, why don't we just have one nation under Allah? If we're not going to put James Comey in the hot seat and hold him accountable for what he did, which is lying to Congress, something that other people go to jail for, contempt of Congress, they go to jail for, especially on our side. If you're not going to hold him and others accountable, then why do we even have a constitution to begin with? Today's show is about accountability. And none of us are perfect. None of us walk on water. We are all sinners, and that's why I got the Bible here. I will ask for forgiveness every day of my life before I say the Lord's Prayer. But if we're not holding anybody accountable in a big way, that sends a message around the world that the United States is in chaos. And make no mistake, my final statement for today. If you want to know what the difference between the United States and the third world is, it's not freedom. There are many countries throughout the world that have freedom. It is the rule of law. We have the rule of law, and the third world is chaos. We are allowing chaos to infiltrate the United States of America and become commonplace. And that is the risk that we put into this country for today, tomorrow, and long after you and I are gone. Our sons, our daughters, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren are going to have to pay the price for what we failed to do. And that's why I'm all fired up again. And one of the things I will do is I'm going to get a little picture here of Charlie Kirk, and he will be up on here. So this way I could remember the responsibility that I have to come to you and be able to teach you and tell you and share with you the importance of family, freedom, and faith. Until Monday, when we're back here at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, God willing, I urge all of you the following. Please be sure to check in and share every time you see one of my videos here on Facebook. There'll be a lot more videos today, kind of, little reels and selfies or whatever it may be. I do them every single day. When you see anything here, please go and share it. Make sure you comment. Make sure you like. That gives the algorithm. Make sure that you tell somebody in your life today how much you love them and appreciate them. Give thanks to God for what it is that you have. And make sure that you stay safe. On behalf of my beautiful, amazingly hardworking son, Ryan, who I am just so lucky to have as my wingman here today, and on behalf of the rest of my family, we wish you the most safest and enjoyable weekend possible. Until Monday, when we're together again, please tell people about the program. Please hit the share button if you haven't already. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America. Thank you, Joe Neal Mills. You're in the book. We'll talk to you soon.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DMail News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and team DMail.